It's now the middle of October, and it has been a crazy couple of weeks, as you've probably seen in the press. There's been a lot of bad publicity about properties moving, not moving, etc., etc. I would say generally a lot of it is made up for the press, really, to be perfectly honest. As long as you can still get a mortgage, and you spoke to a mortgage advisor and you can get a mortgage, then it's always a good time to buy. I would say to anyone out there, if you're not on the property ladder, you should always try your best to get onto the property market and stay on there as long as you possibly can. You can't really lose in the long term. So it is a lot of hot air, to be perfectly honest. What I would say to people, again, as I've said previously, the property market does fall in certain bands. Anything first time buyer market up to that 325 sort of figure. Again, still moving really well at the moment. We've got no problems at that end of the market. The middle of the market obviously has been struggling for the last couple of months, as you'll have seen in my last video as well. I did mention that. And then anything over £500,000-600,000, that market pretty much hasn't changed, really, to be perfectly honest. What I would say to people is the only people that are really going to be affected majorly by a property market price crash are people that have bought new build properties in the last 2 years and are either coming to that period where they need to remortgage a new build property, or they're looking to sell that property and then not buy another property. So obviously maybe a split, or they're looking to get back off the property market. They've struggled with owning a property. Those are the only people that are really going to lose in this current market, because obviously when you buy a new build property, you're paying around about 10% over market value, and the market value was already probably 10% higher than it should have been, really, to be perfectly honest, in the last couple of years since COVID. So I would say those people are probably going to be the only ones that really do struggle, because the property that they will have bought will probably be around about 20% over market value. It will have caught up a little bit because obviously the market has been moving constantly up, but if the property prices drop by 10%, you're probably still going to be about 10% worse off. So if you bought a property for 300, you could potentially lose 30 grand on a sale if you had to sell the property now. The only other people that will struggle are people that are bought another new build and then looking to remortgage the property, because you may not be able to get a remortgage for the amount that you previously borrowed, because obviously if the surveyor says the price has dropped slightly and obviously the market price was already, like I say, 10% overpriced, you might struggle to get a remortgage. Most lenders will take this into account at the moment, and if you're staying with your current lender, it shouldn't be a major issue, and they'll probably put you back onto another fixed rate term. But obviously if you are looking to change lender, you may find that when you have your surveyor out to do your remortgage, that basically you may not get out of the property what you expected to get in the first place. So that's probably the only people that will really struggle. The only other people that will struggle is obviously people that are coming completely off the market. So you're selling your property and you're going into rented, because it may be a double whammy. Basically your property may have gone down 10% in value, maybe worst case scenario over the next couple of months, so you're going to lose 10% on where you are at the moment, but you're also going to be paying over the odds for your rental property. We have noticed that on, say, £1,000 lets, they're currently around about £100 more expensive than they were previously, and £600, £700, £800 lets are around about £50 a month more expensive than they were previously. And there is a lot of competition out there, to be perfectly honest. If you've got a slightly tricky situation in any way, shape or form, and you are looking to rent, again, for the last 2 years, you'll have probably noticed this already anyway, but you are going to really struggle to find yourself a rental property, because if those first-time buyers are now deciding not to buy, they're going to rent, and obviously if their situation is a bit more straightforward and they could have got a mortgage, obviously that's going to be a struggle for anyone that's got some sort of slight issues, maybe adverse credit. That'll cause a problem. It'll definitely cause a problem if you've got a pet. We've noticed for the last 2 years that most landlords are again saying no pets, no pets, no pets. And it will definitely be a problem if you're self-employed without one useful accounts, or if you're unemployed, because obviously the landlord will have loads of people to choose from. We're currently having around about 5 applications for each property that comes up for rent, especially in areas such as Sutton Coldfield, top end of Nuneaton, so anything sort of like Home Lane catchment. Obviously that's gold dust, so you've got no chance if you've got anything that's out of the ordinary in those sort of locations. So any of those sort of areas, and then further up into the countryside, which we normally used to see all the landlords accepting pets, they're now saying, well, we don't really want pets if we can help it. So if we're going to get 2 or 3 applications, we're always going to go for someone that's not got any pets. So obviously just something to bear in mind. I potentially don't see a big problem with the property market. Now, I could be wrong, but in 2008, 2009, lenders just completely stopped lending. Now, last week we did have a little bit of a jolt by the banks when they thought the interest rates were going to shoot up by 1%, but I think things will level out over the next couple of weeks, so I don't see there being a major issue. And a good sign that obviously the property market isn't going to crash, and new builds are still building loads of houses everywhere. In the last crash in 2008, once we got to 2008, they struggled to find finance, so they stopped building and started stockpiling land in the land bank that they had based in their offices individually, and they just didn't bother building. But that's not happening this time around, so I don't see a massive crash. But remember, and this is the one thing that I always say to everyone, in 2008, 2009, everyone knows the market was at its worst it's been in the recent history since probably the late 90s. And if you look at that time, 600,000 people still moved home on an average year, about 1.2 million. So 50% of the property market still moved house. So if you are going to move, then you still will be able to move. It's not going to be a serious problem. And remember, if you've got a property that's dropped in 10% in value and you're buying up the market, that property will have come down at least 10% as well. So it's not a real issue. It's all fake money, basically. It's not real money. It's just all figures on a piece of paper. So again, don't panic. There's nothing major to worry about out there. If anyone's got any questions about the market, then obviously get in touch with myself. Or if you're looking to move over the next couple of months and you want a valuation for your current property, either for sales or for lettings, let me know and I'll come out and give you a valuation. Speak to you soon.